We've been advocating for it all offseason long, and finally, the Washington Commanders come to terms on an extension with right guard Sam Cosmi. I'm going to be breaking down the contract extension these two sides agreed upon and why it's a fantastic deal for the Washington Commanders here over the next 4 seasons. Then we'll get into a Week 1 depth chart released by new head coach Dan Quinn, which had some surprises on there, if I'm being honest with you guys. So make sure you stick around to see what those surprises were on the Week 1 depth chart for this week's matchup against the Buccaneers. And speaking of that matchup against Tampa Bay, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon to kick off today's show if you want the Washington Commanders to start this season 1-0 with a win over the Buccaneers. Okay, let's get into the program today, starting with the report from Adam Schefter earlier today saying the Commanders guard Sam Cosmi signed a 4-year, $74 million contract extension that includes $45 million guaranteed per source. So this is something that if you've been watching the show for a while, you know I've been advocating for a very long time. And honestly, I thought it was going to cost this team about $20 million per year to get done. That wasn't the case. They got this deal done at $18.5 million per year, which isn't even the top 5 among starting guards in the National Football League right now. Landon Dickerson, Chris Lindstrom, Quentin Nelson, Robert Hunt, and Quinn Meinerz are all guys that are currently making more, and actually quite a bit more than Sam Cosmi at this point. So I love that Sam took a little bit of a hometown discount here. You know, he's kind of believing in this football team, in Dan Quinn, in Adam Peters, in Jayden Daniels. He wants to be here in the nation's capital, and I love that he was able to get something that he thought was fair and appropriate, and I'm glad that the Commanders were able to get this guy, their best offensive lineman right now, bar none, at a nice discount here of $18.5 million per year, and by the time this contract expires, guys, he's not even going to be close to the top 10 of the highest paid guards in the National Football League. So I think this is an excellent deal for the team. I'm glad that Cosmi's happy with this new deal as well. And let's rock, baby. I cannot wait to see Sam Cosmi here being a pillar of this offensive line for many years to come. So give us a grade down there in the comments section. Grade this extension of right guard Sam Cosmi, $18.5 million per year. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. For me, I'm going to give this a very solid A. Then we can get here to the first regular season depth chart that head coach Dan Quinn has put out earlier this week. Now, this is technically unofficial, all right? So keep in mind that some changes could potentially be on their way due to injury designations, all these different things. Things could shift around, and we could see a different lineup on game day, but this should be a pretty good representation as to where the Commanders coaching staff sees this roster stacking up heading into the year. So obviously, Jayden Daniels, it's been out for a while that he is going to be the starting quarterback Week 1 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No surprises there. We get to the running back depth chart. No surprises again. B-Rob, followed by Austin Eckler, and then Jeremy McNichols did make the final roster as the RB3. But the first surprise of the day, at least for me, was that Luke McCaffrey was listed among the starters at the wide receiver 3 position alongside Terry McLaurin and Olamide Zaccheaus. And Noah Brown, the recently signed wide receiver, was left out. And De'Ami Brown, who had a really nice training camp in preseason, also left out on the initial starters list. And the fact that Luke McCaffrey is already up listed with the starters tells us that he is probably going to play a pretty key role in this offensive coaching staff headed by a new offensive coordinator. Cliff Kingsbury really believes in this kid, and they expect him to really step up this year. And who knows, he might even end up being the number 2 wide receiver on this Commanders offense when it all said and done, especially after trading Jahan Dotson to the rival Philadelphia Eagles. Then we get to the tight ends here. Zach Ertz was listed as the number 1. A little bit of a flip here. John Bates is now listed as the number 2 over rookie Ben Sinnott. I think that probably indicates that Ben is going to be a little bit more of a slow burn here. And I think that, he's going to have to really earn the playing time that he gets this year, and that he's going to be more of a long-term play at this position, whereas Zach Ertz is more of the short-term play. And then John Bates, the reason why he's listed as the number 2 tight end is because he's more of a blocking tight end, and he's expected to get more playing time than Sinnott, at least right away. Then we get to the offensive line. Brandon Coleman still listed as the starting left tackle. He practiced fully today, so you can expect him to start week 1 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then no other changes to the offensive line. Allegretti at left guard, Badass at center. You got Sam Cosmi, the newly signed guard, at right guard, and then Andrew Wiley. Hopefully, he can hold up at right tackle this year. I guess we'll have to see. But it's going to be interesting to see here if Brandon Coleman is going to hold up at left tackle this year, because he is talented physically. He's got the physical tools that you look for in a starting left tackle. Dan Quinn has certainly raised the expectations for him with how much he's glowed about him and his performance in training camp this year. But he has dealt with a little bit of an injury here, and, he's missed some time. And, his tape at TCU last year was bad. I thought he was one of the worst, if not the worst tackle at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama last year. So you guys know, if you've been watching the show, I have my reservations about Brandon Coleman, but the fact that they're willing to start him week 1 over Cornelius Lucas, who they did bring back in free agency, shows that they have some sort of confidence in this young man. So I'm definitely rooting for him. So up next here on the Commanders Report, the defensive depth chart for week 1 for your Washington Commanders. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on TV. So take advantage of Game Time's brand new feature on their app called Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It's super easy to use. All you do is you go on the Game Time app, you find a game or an event you want to go to, you select the Game Time Picks filter, and it automatically puts it through an algorithm to show you only the best possible deals on the tickets available on their app. Also on the Game Time app, you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. So it's the only ticketing app that you need on your phone, because you're not going to find lower ticket prices anywhere else. Also, they have all-in pricing on their app, so you know exactly what you're going to pay before you get to checkout. I hate it when they slap fees on you at the last second. A lot of ticketing apps do that. Game Time does not. Something I really respect about them. And then also, they have flash deals right before the event. So if you're someone like me, you procrastinate, you wait to the last minute to get your tickets, that doesn't matter. In fact, Game Time rewards you for that behavior by driving down the prices even lower the closer to the event you get. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Get to the defensive line depth chart here, and Clelin Ferrell is, in fact, listed above Jamin Davis on the official Commanders depth chart here for week 1. It definitely seems like Clelin Ferrell is going to be brought in this year as more of a run defender. That's his kind of forte. He's not much in terms of a pass, much as a pass rusher. But something that's definitely telling here is that Jamin Davis, somebody that a lot of people, including myself, thought was going to be a starter on this defense this year, is actually listed as a backup. Now, I definitely think he's going to be a part of the rotation, but at the end of the day, right now, they do not feel like he has earned the opportunity to start on this defensive line. The fact that they're listing him as a defensive end and not a linebacker at this point is definitely telling. Then we get to the linebackers here. We got the two guys that are going to be kind of playing more in the middle, Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. And then you got the designated pass rush outside linebacker and Dante Fowler Jr. This is a 4-3 under defense. And in a 4-3 under, there is an outside linebacker that plays close to the line of scrimmage, pretty much as a designated pass rush specialist. That's going to be Dante Fowler Jr. for this team to start. But make no mistake, Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, both excellent blitzers players in their own right. Expect to see all of these starting linebackers get after the quarterback this year. So before we get into the secondary here for the Washington Commanders, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you're enjoying yourself today. You're going to love our content that we put out every single day here on the channel. It's 100% free. We get breaking news videos out to you guys every time the Commanders make a big move. We have weekly live shows on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern time, plus watch parties for every single Commanders game. And did I mention it's 100% free? And guess what, guys? We are growing like crazy. We are the fastest growing Commanders channel here on YouTube as I'm speaking today. We're getting very, very close to 20,000 subscribers here on the Commanders Report. So help us get there today by joining our family. Okay, now let's get to the safeties. Quan Martin and Jeremy Chinn will be your starting duo. Expect to see Derek Forrest with 2 R's, not 3 R's. A little spelling mistake there on our graphics. Our bad there. But Derek Forrest, I do think, will be a part of the rotation. And, it'll be interesting to see how much they use Percy Butler and Tyler Owens this year. I think they'll probably be more special teams players / reserve type players. There we go. Producer Joey fixed that for us. Thank you, Joey. So we got Quan Martin, Jeremy Chinn. Have high expectations for both of those guys. Both of those players, I think, are perfect fits in this defense, and I think that's going to become one of the better safety duos in the league this season. Then the cornerback room here, Emmanuel Forbes is listed as the #1 corner, so I guess we're going to see what he's capable of here. The second-year corner out of Mississippi State. There's a lot of pressure on him this year after a really tough rookie campaign. He took some lumps in joint practices with teams like the New York Jets and in the preseason game against the Jets. Lots of expectations for that young man. I'm really hoping that he's going to be able to live up to them. And then after that, it's Benjamin St-Juste is the other person that is listed as a starter here. And then we got Mike Sainristil as the starting slot. Honestly, I think Sainristil is probably the best corner on this team right now. So how did Adam Peters do in terms of this roster this year? So now that we've gone through free agency and roster cuts and the draft and all these different things that this team has gone through this offseason, give me an overall grade for what Adam Peters was able to do. All right, you got Dan Quinn, a new head coach. You got Jayden Daniels, a brand new quarterback. I think you made some very intriguing moves with the roster this year. So before I give my grade here, give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. Then for me personally, guys, I'm going to go an A-, okay? I think that Adam Peters did a good job, specifically with the hires of the head coach and then going out and getting the right quarterback in Jayden Daniels. I think that combination is going to be the combination that brings Lombardi trophies back to the nation's capital here. I'm very excited about the future here in Washington. Was it perfect? No, not in my opinion. I think there's certain things you could have done better if you were Adam Peters, but that's why I talk about football for a living, and that's why he builds rosters for a living, right? So hopefully Adam Peters did a really good job this year. I guess only time will tell if this offseason ends up being the one that changed things forever. Okay, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your support. I'll be back tomorrow with another Commanders video right here on YouTube, 100% free. So until next time, guys, raise some hail.